guys, today we are making veal parmesan. I am so excited to share this recipe with you from my restaurant. We made the best veal parm, and right now I am just getting together a few ingredients because most of this is going to be done over on the range. Now I have to get some onions and some garlic chopped, and then I've got to get a station set up for breading because we will bread the veal just a little bit. It's fried lightly with a light breadcrumb on the outside, and we're going to make a delicious sauce to go with that. Now that we have our veggies cut up and ready for our sauce, I'm going to talk to you about this beautiful veal. We have some amazing veal cutlets. They're sliced really, really thin. When I was at the store this week, these looked beautiful, and this is what inspired me to do this for dinner. So usually when I'm cooking, I look and see what's fresh at the market and what's fresh at the store, and sometimes you pass by something, you just can't pass it up. So this was the veal that I found at the store. It is a really good grade of veal. Veal is really tender and really soft. What we want to do though, before we get our coating on the outside to fry it, we want to make sure that we season the veal. So we're going to do some salt and pepper and a little bit of the secret seasoning on the actual meat itself before we get the coating on the outside. Now I always keep a fork on the plate, and that's what I'm going to use to turn it over. So that's my salt. We're going to do a little pepper, and of course the secret seasoning. We're going to use this also when we're building the sauce, but we want to make sure that we flavor the meat. It is nearly impossible to flavor meat once it's cooked, so we want to make sure we flavor it before and during the cooking process. All right, I'm going to flip those over and do the same thing on the other side. All right, once we have that seasoned, now we've got to make our dredging station to put our coating on the outside of our veal before we fry it. So I have 3 bowls here. One I already have an all-purpose flour in, and then I'm going to have one with egg and one with our flavored breadcrumbs. I'm putting 2 eggs in this bowl. I'm putting 2 eggs in this bowl in the middle, and I'm going to add just a little bit of cream to that, or you can use milk or half and half. To our other bowl, I'm going to add my Italian seasoned breadcrumbs. We're going to mix up the eggs. And the way this is going to work, we're going to go into the regular flour first, then we'll go into our egg mixture, and then we're going to go into our breadcrumbs. And I'm going to put them back on the same plate, and then we'll take them over to the range and we'll fry them off in our pan. All right, so 1 veal into the flour. The flour helps to dry off the outside of the meat. It also helps our coating to stick a little better. And then we're going to go into the egg mixture and into the breadcrumbs. This makes a great coating for your veal. We do this coating on chicken also when we do a chicken parm. And I'll put it back onto the plate. I'm going to get all 4 of these done, and then we're going to head over to the range to cook off our veal and to make our beautiful sauce. The first thing we're going to do is go ahead and get our pasta in our water and turn the fire on underneath our pan, because we want to make sure that our pan is nice and hot when we start to cook. Our water's been on and it's come to a boil, and once it comes to a boil, we want to salt it. We don't want to break our pasta when we put it into the pot. We're going to leave it. And then as it starts to slowly soften, it will go down into the water. You never want to break your pasta before you put it into a pot. I know a lot of people do that because they say it makes it fit better, But why did you buy long pasta if you were just going to break it? So we want to leave the pasta long like we purchased it. We're going to let it sit for just a second, and then we will swirl it down into the pot. In the meantime, we're going to get our pan going for our sauce over here. We're going to do 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. We're going to add our onions and our garlic to that olive oil. Now I chopped up a whole head of garlic. You can just do a couple of cloves if you'd like. I like the whole thing because I like a lot of garlic in there. So it's completely up to you. You can do less or you can do more. We're going to stir that around and get this starting to cook just a little bit. And we're going to add a couple of things to this sauce, and then we're going to flavor it with some fresh herbs and seasonings. It's a really easy sauce to put together. It's a quick marinara sauce. All right, once our onions and our garlic have cooked for about a minute, we're going to go ahead and add some stewed tomatoes. Now you could absolutely add chopped fresh tomatoes depending on the time of year that it is, but stewed tomatoes is something you always probably have in your pantry. And the ones that I'm using today are a fire roasted tomato, and you see they have a little bit of that fire roasting still left in the sauce. It's going to give us a little flavor to our sauce. We're going to put that right in. We're also going to add 1 can of a tomato sauce or 1 jar of fresh tomato sauce that you make yourself. Either way, make sure that it's a nice sauce that doesn't have a lot of additives and preservatives in it. You want a really good tomato sauce. Now it's time to season up this sauce. We want this to cook down for just a little while, probably about 10 minutes total. We're going to let it cook down and thicken up a little bit more, but we want to go ahead and season it now. So we're going to go ahead and add some secret seasoning. And we want to be pretty liberal with that. This is a lot of flavor. And we're going to also add some fresh oregano. Fresh oregano, you can add the whole stalks. If you want, you can pull the leaves off and just add those. But the whole stalks go in there and flavor the sauce as well. And then before we serve, we'll just pull those stalks out. I'm going to head out to the garden and get some fresh basil, and we're going to add a little bit of that to our sauce as well. Basil plants are really doing well out in the garden, so I got a pretty big piece of some fresh basil. What we're going to do with the basil, we never ever want to cut basil. We only want to tear the leaves of the basil. We're going to pull off these leaves, and I'm just going to tear it into little pieces. Our sauce has thickened up pretty well. So what we're going to do is add just a little bit of chicken stock to this. Now you could add beef broth if you'd like, or stock. You could just add water, but I always like to add things that are going to add flavor. We're going to let that cook down for just a few more minutes and thicken back up again. And then in a separate pan, we're going to fry off our veal and then finish off our whole veal parm meal. In a separate pan, we're going to add some olive oil to the bottom of the pan. We're going to let that olive oil heat up, and then we're going to cook off our veal in that olive oil. Our oil is hot now, and it's ready for us to fry off the veal. And this is going to be a really quick fry. We don't want to cook it for too long. We want our veal to be kind of still medium rare to rare in the center. So I'm going to put a couple of pieces in here. We're going to cook them off for about 1.5 minutes on each side, and then we're going to flip them over. There should be a nice golden brown color on the outside, but like I said, we don't want them too cooked on the inside. And once we do that, then we're going to finish off our dish. Our first two are ready to come out. I'm going to put them on a paper towel to get some of the oil drained off. I'm going to add the other two to the pan and let them cook off. And while that's cooking, I'm going to go ahead and get my pasta out of the pot. I'm going to go ahead and get my pasta out of the pot because our pasta is done and we want to add it directly to our sauce. So we're going to finish this off in the oven, and we're not going to use all of the pasta that we cooked. I'm going to save some for another meal. So we're going to add it straight from the pot to our sauce, and we want to save any of that pasta water. We never want to pour that out. We never want to serve a sauce on top of pasta. We always want to toss it together. So that's what I'm going to do right now. Toss this with the sauce. We're getting it ready to top it with our veal. All right, now we can take the veal that is cooked. We're going to put it right on top of our pasta and sauce. And then I'm going to go ahead and flip these other two. As I said, we're not trying to cook the veal all the way through. We want the veal to be rare to medium rare on the inside. We do want to have still a little pink. We don't want to cook it all the way. And we've still got to go into the oven. So we're really just trying to cook off the breadcrumb coating. We're going to put these in the oven at 350. I'm going to top my veal with a little bit of a smoked mozzarella. You could use a regular mozzarella or you could use shredded mozzarella. I just like the little added flavor of the smoked mozzarella. We're going to put that right down on the pieces of veal. Then we're going to dust it with a little bit of Parmesan cheese. Okay, these two guys are ready. We're going to put them right over here on top of our pan. Move everything around so you can see better. I'm topping our veal with that smoked mozzarella, and then we're going to put the Parmesan cheese on the top. We're going to put this in the oven. It's a 350 oven, and really at that point all we're trying to do is just melt the cheese and kind of give it a little brown top. We really don't want to overcook that veal. That veal is nice and tender, and we want to make sure that it stays nice and tender and not overcooked. A little bit of Parmesan on the top. All right, we're going in the oven. All right, we're going in the oven. There is our beautiful veal parmesan. I hope you enjoyed this recipe, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you enjoyed this recipe, and if you like this video, you may like my other videos, so please click like and subscribe to our channel. Hit the notification bell so you make sure to get a notification every time I upload a new video. I share easy recipes for you to make any night of the week right in your own home, and they are always delicious. Look forward to seeing you next time. Enjoy!